Why do we keep chasing happiness and never quite catch it? New goals, new achievements, new pleasures, and yet somehow it's never enough. What if the problem isn't your life, but your brain? Have you ever wondered why, despite all our efforts, constant happiness seems so elusive? We're often told that happiness is our birthright, a natural state we should all be living in. But what if I told you that's not quite true? What if our brains are actually wired to be, well, a little bit miserable? It sounds pessimistic, I know, but stick with me, because understanding this is the key to finding real, lasting contentment. Let's travel back in time, way back to our earliest ancestors. For them, life wasn't about finding their bliss or living their best life. It was about one thing: survival. Evolution is a brutally efficient process, and it doesn't really care about your feelings. It cares about passing your genes on to the next generation. A happy, carefree caveman who spent his days admiring beautiful sunsets was probably a lot less likely to notice a hungry saber-toothed tiger lurking in the bushes than his anxious, constantly on edge counterpart. This brings us to a fascinating concept known as the negativity bias. Our brains are like Velcro for bad experiences and Teflon for good ones. Think about it. You could have a fantastic day where 10 great things happen, but that one tiny criticism from your boss is what you'll be replaying in your head all night. This isn't a personal failing, it's a survival mechanism. For our ancestors, overlooking a single threat, like a poisonous berry or a rival tribe, could mean instant death. Overlooking a beautiful flower? Not so much. So our brains evolved to be hyper-vigilant, constantly scanning the environment for potential dangers. That anxiety that keeps you up at night, worrying about the future, you can thank your ancestral relatives for that. Their worry kept them alive, and now you've inherited their worrywart brain. So, okay, our brains are wired for survival, not happiness. But what about when we do achieve something amazing? We get that promotion, buy that dream car, or finally go on that perfect vacation. We feel incredible, on top of the world. For a while. And then, surprisingly quickly, that feeling fades. We're back to our normal, baseline level of happiness, or maybe even looking for the next thing to make us happy. This phenomenon is called the hedonic treadmill. Imagine you're on a treadmill. You start running faster and faster, putting in more and more effort, but you're not actually going anywhere. That's what happens with happiness. We achieve a goal, feel a temporary spike of joy, and then our expectations reset. The new car becomes just the car. The promotion becomes just the job. This isn't a cruel trick of the universe. It's another brilliant evolutionary design to keep us striving. If achieving one goal made us permanently happy, what would motivate us to do anything else? We just sit around, content and complacent. And from an evolutionary standpoint, that's not very productive. The hedonic treadmill keeps us hungry, keeps us moving, and ensures we're always pushing to improve our situation, which, historically, increased our chances of survival and reproduction. So that brief, fleeting nature of joy, it's a feature, not a bug. It's what kept our species innovating and pushing forward. Now, let's bring this ancient brain into the 21st century. This is where things get really tricky. We have a brain that was forged in the Stone Age, but we're living in the Information Age. This creates what scientists call an evolutionary mismatch. The threats have changed, but our brain's response system hasn't. Back then, the stress response, that fight or flight surge of cortisol and adrenaline, was designed for short, intense bursts of danger. You either outran the lion or you didn't. Either way, the stress was over quickly. Today, the lions are everywhere, and they're relentless. They're in the form of a never-ending stream of emails, a 24-hour news cycle bombarding us with crises, and the carefully curated perfection we see on social media. Our ancient brain can't tell the difference between a real, life-threatening danger and a notification on our phone. It perceives that critical comment on your post or the pressure to meet a deadline with the same primal alarm as a predator. But unlike the lion, these modern stressors don't just go away. They are chronic, constant, and keep our stress response activated almost permanently. Our bodies are flooded with stress hormones day in and day out, leading to burnout, anxiety, and a feeling of being constantly overwhelmed. We are trying to navigate a digital world with an analog brain, and it's taking a toll on our well-being. The very system that was designed to protect us is now, in many ways, making us sick and unhappy. So, what's the takeaway from all of this? Should we just give up and accept a life of perpetual dissatisfaction? Absolutely not. In fact, understanding this is incredibly empowering. It's not about surrendering to misery, it's about changing the rules of the game. First, it allows us to practice self-compassion. The next time you're feeling anxious, down, or frustrated that you're not happier, you can remind yourself, my brain isn't broken, it's just doing what it evolved to do. This simple act of reframing can lift a huge weight of guilt and self-blame. You're not failing at being happy, you're just human. Second, knowing about the negativity bias and the hedonic treadmill means we can be more intentional about creating happiness. Since our brains don't naturally hold on to positive experiences, we have to consciously do it for them. This is where practices like gratitude journaling come in. By taking just a few minutes each day to write down things you're thankful for, you are actively training your brain to notice and focus on the good. It's like a workout for your prefrontal cortex, strengthening the neural pathways associated with positivity. Similarly, savoring small moments, really tasting your morning coffee, feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin, truly listening to a piece of music can help counteract the brain's tendency to gloss over the good stuff. And finally, understanding our ancient roots helps us find a more sustainable and realistic form of well-being. Instead of chasing the fleeting high of happiness, maybe we should aim for contentment or fulfillment. This isn't about the giddy excitement of the hedonic treadmill, but a deeper, more stable sense of peace that comes from living a life aligned with your values, nurturing strong social connections, and finding meaning and purpose. These are the things that provide a steady foundation of well-being, even when our ancient brain is screaming about imaginary lions. So, no, you weren't born to be happy. You were born to survive. But the beauty of being human is that we are not slaves to our biology. We have the awareness to understand our own programming and the intelligence to override it. By working with our ancient brains instead of against them, we can stop chasing an elusive, mythical state of constant joy and start building a life of genuine, resilient contentment.